This is something I'm ashamed to admit, but I used to be heavily addicted to the Juul, which is one of the dumbest addictions you can have because with every other addiction like alcohol and weed, there's at least some things that are good about them, right? Like alcohol, you get drunk with all your friends and just have like a really good time. You know, weed, same thing. You get high with all your buddies. You guys have some deep ass conversations, right? Like, obviously, they are some really unhealthy addictions, but at the very least, they do have some redeeming qualities. But nicotine has no redeeming qualities, right? Like, with a Juul, you just like rip the Juul and you feel good for 1 second, and then you feel like shit for the rest of the day. So it's just a really stupid addiction to have, and if you've never ripped a Juul before, there is literally no good reason for you to start. So why do people start ripping the Juul? Well, I can't speak for everyone else, but the reason why I started was because I wanted to seem cool. The first time I ever ripped the Juul, I was just chilling at this party and some girl walked up to me and shoved her Juul in my face and said, "Yo, Brian, rip this." And at that moment, everyone at the party turned around to look at me and see if I was gonna rip this Juul. And so in that moment, I had a split-second decision to make. Do I say no thank you and look like a loser in front of all these people? Or do I say fuck it and just rip the Juul and look like a legend? I chose the latter, and it was a start of a really bad, unhealthy addiction that probably killed a bunch of my brain cells, you know, caused me to waste a lot of my money and just wasted a lot of my time. And looking back on it, it's really disappointing that I allowed peer pressure to cause me to do that, right? Like, it was just really stupid of me to start ripping the Juul and become addicted to it, all because I wanted to look cool in front of those people at that party. Whenever you hear peer pressure get brought up, it's always in a negative light like that, right? It's always about drugs or sex or something else that's bad. But I'm here to tell you guys today that peer pressure isn't always bad, all right? Sometimes peer pressure can be good, all right? Sometimes your peers can pressure you into doing something that's good for you. For example, something that I try to do as much as I can is approach women, right? Just like walk up to girls, start a nice little conversation, try to get them digits, right? But the problem with it is it's terrifying, right? Like, for some reason, it's scary to talk to girls. I have no idea why. Like, what are they gonna do? Punch you in the face? No. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is they say, "No, I don't wanna give you my number." Or actually, the worst thing that can happen is they say "ew." But even then, it's not like you're gonna drop dead on the fucking floor because some girl thinks you're disgusting. But yeah, even though there's no good reason for it, the truth is that it is scary to talk to girls. And so whenever I'm out in public all alone, I'll hesitate to walk up to them. But if I'm with a friend, I'm much less likely to hesitate. Because let's say before we go out for the night, I tell my friend, "Yo, let's walk up to some girls tonight, man. Let's lay the mat down on these ladies," right? If I say that beforehand and then we go out and there's a bunch of girls out and I don't walk up to any of them, right? Like, I just get scared and bitch out, my friend's gonna have something to say about it. He's gonna be like, "Yo, why are you not walking up to any of these girls, man? You were talking a big game before. You were saying you're gonna walk up to every girl you saw. Like, why are you bitching out?" Right? Like, I'll disappoint my friend. I'll let him down. He'll be disappointed in me because he knows I could do better than that. And so at that point, the fear I have of disappointing my friend will exceed the fear I have of talking to girls. And so I'll feel that peer pressure where I don't want to let my friend down, and that will force me to walk up to a lot more girls, yo. Like, it really is true that when I'm with my friend, I'm much more likely to walk up to girls than when I'm all alone. So, listen guys, peer pressure can be good sometimes. Peer pressure was actually one of the driving forces behind the civil rights movement. Because before Rosa Parks, there was actually a lot of other black people who got arrested for not giving up their seat on the bus. But when Rosa Parks got arrested, it was different because Rosa Parks had a lot of friends in a lot of different communities, you know. Apparently, Rosa Parks was really cool. She was really fun to hang out with, and everybody fucked with her. So good for her. And when she got arrested, all of those friends were pissed And rightfully so. I mean, if your friend got arrested for some bullshit ass reason, you'd be pissed too. You'd be like, yo, free my man. I mean, even if your friend got arrested for a non-bullshit reason, you'd still be pissed, right? Like, dude, my friend could get arrested for murder and I'd still be out here saying, oh, free my man, free my man. But yeah, all of Rosa Parks' friends were pissed off she got arrested and they wanted to do something about it. So they decided, yo, let's have a bus boycott, yo. Like, these buses, they're not treating us like human beings, so fuck it, let's stop giving them our money. And they started telling all their friends, all their neighbors, everybody they worked with that, like, guys, on Monday, we're not riding these buses until they change this shit, right? And the word spread throughout the community really quickly, and it got to the point where everyone in the community had heard about this bus boycott, and nobody wanted to be seen on a bus. Because look, if everyone is boycotting the buses, you don't want to be the one jerk off who's riding the bus, right? So there was literally people whose jobs were 10 miles away from where they lived, and they fucking walked to work because they didn't want to be seen on a bus and judged as being against the movement. So that right there is the power of peer pressure. And obviously the Birmingham bus boycotts, that was one of the catalysts behind the civil rights movement, and peer pressure played a very large role in that. So look, people like to hate on peer pressure, they like to say it's bad, but peer pressure has actually done a lot to improve our society. And when you think about it, peer pressure is actually the thing that holds our society together. Because look, I'm the type of guy who will tell you, oh, I don't care what other people think of me. You should never care what other people think of you. And that is true to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, it is human to care about what other people think of you, right? Like, we could deny it all we want. We could say, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck, but you do. You do give a fuck what other people think of you. It's literally built into your human nature to care. Because for hundreds of thousands of years, back when we lived in tribes, you did not want to get kicked the fuck out of the tribe and thrown into the wilderness to get eaten alive by some bear, right? Like, you wanted to be accepted by the tribe. So it's literally built into our genes to want to be accepted. And because of that, because we all want to be accepted, we all feel peer pressure to follow the unwritten rules of society and live in peace and harmony with each other. It's all because we don't want to get kicked out of like the tribes that we live in today. So yeah, hopefully I've sold you guys on how peer pressure is good, right? Like, peer pressure is good, guys, come on. Peer pressure is so good. So the next time you're hanging out with your friends and one of them pulls out a bag with some white powder in it and they all start snoring it and then they pass it to you and tell you it's your turn, go for it, y'all. Go, all right, snort that shit, go crazy, come on, everyone else is doing it, just hop in. Nah, obviously I'm just kidding, guys. Of course, you should always use your own judgment, and you should never do something that you don't want to do just because all your friends are doing it, right? Like, that's just a stupid way to give into peer pressure. But you should use peer pressure to force yourself to do the things that you want to do, but don't really want to do. And what do I mean by that? Because that's kind of like a weird thing to say, right? Like, something you want to do, but don't really want to do. Like, what does that mean? Well, for example, if you were to ask me right now as I sit in my comfortable ass room, in my comfortable ass chair, do I want to go on a run every day? I would say, hell yeah, of course I do. Like, I'm trying to be healthy out here, right? But then when it comes time to actually go on the run and it's freezing cold outside and my legs are tired, like, I don't want to go on a run, fuck that. So I want to go on a run every day, but I don't really want to go on a run every day. You know what I mean? So what I can do is I can add a little bit of peer pressure to the mix to force myself to go on the run. So I can like call up my friend and say, yo bro, you trying to go on a run tomorrow at 12? And if he says yes, I have to go on the run because my friend is now expecting me to go on a run with him, right? Like, at 12 o'clock, he's gonna be waiting for me. So it doesn't matter how tired my legs are and how much I don't want to go on a run. At that point, I have to go on the run because like, I invited him to go on the run, right? So like, if I just blow him off and don't show up, that would be fucked up of me, right? Like, that would just not be a cool thing for me to do. And even if your friend doesn't want to go on the run with you, just telling him that you're going for a run is powerful because you don't want to look like a liar, right? Like, you don't want to tell someone you're going to do something and then not follow through with it. So when you tell someone that you're going to do something, it makes you a lot more likely to do it because you're adding extra pressure onto yourself to do it, right? Because you're not trying to ruin your reputation and be known as the guy who talked the talk but didn't walk the walk. So look, as long as you're using it strategically, peer pressure can be a great tool to force you to do the things that you want to do but don't really want to do. Anyways though, thank you all so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, you should do something that, listen, everybody's doing it these days, y'all. Like, literally everybody's doing it. Everybody's dropping a like and subscribing to my channel, yo. Everybody's doing it, yo. Come on, peer pressure, do it guys, do it. But no, I'm just kidding, guys. But I would greatly appreciate if you did that. You know, I really love all the support. It means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Peace.